The ground trembles long before the sound reaches us. It is not the kind of rumble that a passing truck might make on an African highway, nor the subtle vibrations of an approaching train. This is deeper, more ancient, a vibration that travels through soil and stone, echoing across miles of savanna. It is the voice of giants. The African elephant, Earth's largest land animal, has always been a creature shrouded in mystery, revered across cultures as a symbol of wisdom, power, and memory. Yet, for all of our scientific advances, we are only just beginning to understand what these colossal beings are truly capable of. It is dusk on the plains of Amboseli, Kenya. Dust rises from the hooves of zebra and wildebeest, but the elephants move differently, slower, deliberate, almost regal. A matriarch leads the herd, her ears wide and steady like sails catching an invisible wind. She is the elder, the memory keeper, the one who carries in her mind the map of waterholes, migration paths, and safe havens passed down for generations. When she stops, the entire herd halts. Her trunk extends, curling toward the west. There is no sound, no visible cue, yet somehow the others know. They begin to follow her, walking toward a distant water source no human could see, no animal but an elephant could sense. Scientists have discovered that elephants can detect water buried more than 12 feet underground, using not only their keen sense of smell, but also their astonishing ability to interpret seismic vibrations in the earth. When elephants walk, their massive feet press against the ground, sending tremors that can be felt for miles. When they call to one another, particularly in low-frequency rumbles below the range of human hearing, the sound doesn't just travel through the air, it ripples through the earth itself. In one experiment, researchers placed seismometers in elephant habitats and discovered that these animals could hear each other's calls through the soil up to 20 miles away. Imagine speaking to your family not through cell phones or radios, but through the very bones of the planet. That is the language of elephants. But this story is not just about communication. It is about survival, and about what elephants can teach us about the past and the future of our own species. For millions of years, elephants and their ancestors, the proboscideans, roamed almost every continent on Earth. From the towering woolly mammoths of Siberia to the strange dwarf elephants of Mediterranean islands, they were architects of ecosystems, shaping forests and grasslands with every step. In the Amazon today, scientists believe ancient elephant relatives, gomphotheres, once spread seeds that still rely on large animals to germinate. Some of the fruit species we see in tropical forests may literally be evolutionary orphans waiting for a giant that no longer exists to carry their seeds across miles of jungle. Yet the modern African elephant, despite being one of the last survivors of this lineage, faces threats unlike anything its ancestors endured. Poaching for ivory, habitat destruction, and climate change have driven populations down by 60% in just the last 50 years. The matriarchs who once carried centuries of knowledge are dying younger, their wisdom lost before it can be passed on. And yet, they endure. One of the astonishing things about elephants is their memory. It is not a poetic exaggeration, it is a biological truth. Studies have shown that matriarchs can remember the calls of over 100 different individuals, even after years apart. They recall the location of distant waterholes across decades of drought. In 1993, during one of the worst dry seasons in East Africa, Herds led by older matriarchs survived at nearly double the rate of herds with younger leaders simply because the elders remembered places where water could still be found. Memory, for elephants, is survival. But survival is also tied to emotion. Elephants mourn their dead. They have been observed returning to the bones of fallen relatives years later, caressing the skulls with their trunks as if trying to remember. In one remarkable case, researchers documented a herd visiting the remains of a matriarch every year for over a decade, each time pausing, silent, before continuing on their migration. No one can say for certain whether elephants understand death the way humans do, but they understand loss. And that, perhaps, is the most powerful bridge between their world and ours. Climate change is altering rainfall patterns across Africa, and what the elephants have remembered for generations may no longer be enough. Some waterholes will dry forever. Some migration paths will lead only to dust. But in that truth lies a lesson for us. Elephants do not just survive in their environments, they transform them. By knocking down trees, they create grasslands for antelope and zebra. By digging for water, they create wells that other animals depend on. By dispersing seeds in their dung, they plant the forests of the future. In a very real sense, elephants are ecosystem engineers. Without them, entire landscapes collapse. The same is true for us. Humanity, like the elephants, leaves its imprint on the world. But unlike the elephants, who shape ecosystems in ways that sustain life, we too often shape them in ways that unravel it. Deforestation, overhunting, pollution, these are not the marks of giants, but the scars of short-sightedness. And so the question is not just whether elephants can endure the age of humans, but whether humans can learn from the age of elephants. Consider this. Elephants have been walking this earth for over 50 million years. Our own species, Homo sapiens, has existed for less than 300,000 years. Yet, in that blink of evolutionary time, we have nearly brought these giants to extinction. Will we remember them the way they remember each other? Will we carry forward the memory of what they mean to this planet? Or will we forget, and in forgetting, erase a legacy millions of years in the making?